Tolkin, Captain Chris Wyles, start this press conference off. Does anybody want to start off with the first question?
Hey, Mike Marshall with West Michigan Rugby. After today's performance, how do you guys feel that you're going to be in the competition realm with World Cup coming up? I mean, you guys look good. I understand the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but compared to teams past, you guys look really solid.
Well, before the match, we talked about it being a measuring stick to where we were. And first half, we put a lot of energy, put some pressure on. Second half, we put pressure on, but we didn't capitalize on that pressure, and then compounded it by letting some opportunities turn into opportunities for the Wallabies. And that part was disappointing to us, is that we could have turned the screws a little bit, and we didn't, and they turned them to us.
Hi, Patrick Troche with Doc and Lefty radio program. I just have a question. What do you guys think of the crowd that came out to support you guys today?
It was a good crowd. Listen, it wasn't the same as last November against the All Blacks, but to be honest, the noise was pretty electric, and we appreciate that home field support, especially going into World Cup. As Coach Tolkin said, it felt like in the first half we had some momentum. The crowd was getting behind us, and we let that slip by in the second half. But ultimately, whenever we play in the States, when there is a crowd, it's amazing. It's amazing home crowd. I think we made more noise than there's actually people, so it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Moon, parent from Last Word on Sports. Are you guys working on any strategies in particular, regardless of the game situation, to prepare for the World Cup?
Yeah, for us, it's still about growing this team and doing things well on a consistent basis. So for us, we're working on how we play the game, and we focus on this pre-World Cup time slot, 3 games, where we want to get our team, prepared the way we want to play. So, if this was a regular test match, on a November tour or something, it might be a little different, but we really focused on us coming into the World Cup.
Guys, given the score at half-time, did you ever entertain the thought of a potential upset? I mean, you were sticking it to them after that first 20. You might not have been there, but that second 20 in the first half, you were sticking it to them for a while.
Yeah, we came in the first half feeling very confident. I think you and I were speaking before the game, and we're not here to participate in any of these games. That's what we're trying to build, that self-confidence that on our day we can beat any team. Otherwise, what's the point of getting on the pitch? And we were in a good place at half time, and like we said, we let mistake compound on mistake as opposed to finishing off opportunities. So it's a bit disappointing, but I think there's some positives to take from it. But we're not here just to sit back in games and let teams walk on us.
Justin Rutledge from This Is American Rugby. In the first half, it seemed like they had your number a little bit in the lineups. You guys made some adjustments. With the adjustments you made today and the stuff you learned from that, what are you guys going to do to go forward to make sure that you're in the best possible state going into the World Cup?
Well, the line-out's something that you're always tinkering with. We have some good line-out people and some quality ball winners out there. So you're constantly playing cat and mouse with the opposition, who is scouting you, and you're keeping one step ahead of them. So there's a lot of work that you're constantly doing. So it's an area that we probably put in as much time as anything else, because it's a massive source of possession, those lineouts. So, yeah.
Coach, you had some turnovers on those lineouts resulting in walls and tries. You've lost a couple pretty good lineout operators that maybe you've had in the past recently with Scott and Todd no longer being on the team. Do you feel that's affected the effectiveness of your lineout, and are you worried about your lineout now going into the World Cup?
I hadn't noticed those lineout turnovers. You know what? It wasn't so much. No, I'm not concerned. I thought that we still have good people in there. I mean, Greg Peterson's a good lineout guy. Cam Dolan, good lineout guy. We lost a little timber. You're not having Hayden and losing Samu. Cut a little bit of timber out, but I feel pretty confident in the lineup people that we have. So not an area of concern. We have to tighten things up a little bit, but it's not a major area of concern.
Good day, Andy Withers from ESPN Scrum. You've mentioned that you compounded errors and errors, but what were the good things for you from today's game? You know, in particular, the aspects of the game that really impressed you?
I think when we started to turn the tempo of the game around the first half is when we started getting our line speed into them. You know, we were making big hits, we were causing turnovers, we were having them play on the heels a little bit, and when we were doing that, you know, we were really making things happen, upping the tempo, getting crowd into it, everything that goes along with that. In the second half, when we had opportunities to do that, we didn't capitalize, and I think that is the tempo we needed. A score from one of those deep lineouts, not letting long distance scores come in. So,
Coach, it was if we convert that try that Chris, the break that he had, if you convert that, that's a 2-score game with 10 minutes left in the contest. Obviously, it was a 4-point game at halftime. You look at the last time you guys played the Wallabies, it was, I think, a 62-point game. Last time you played here, obviously, wasn't much of a contest. Could you take some solace away, and do you feel like there is a tangible improvement against some of these really upper echelon teams over the course of, not just the last year, but the last several years? And Chris, maybe if you could expand on that since you've been here all along.
I think the fact that we're talking about some of these things, about this game getting away from us, being in position to either win or bring it down to the wire is a positive sign. The fact that we were doing things to put ourselves in a position to be within reach at the end is a good thing. So I think there were positives from it. And when we went into the clubhouse, it was about, hey fellas, it's not good enough. If we capitalized on the opportunities we had, it could have been a real ball game down to the wire. So we're not happy in there, but that's a good sign of the progress that we've made.
And your centers, I thought, were pretty impressive, especially in defense. Threaten and Seamus both had some big hits. Taku came up and made some big tackles, but specifically in the centers, I know that's a place where you had some decisions to make this summer and figure out what you had. Do you feel good with Threaten and Seamus and their performance tonight going into the World Cup?
Yeah, I think the more games Threaten gets under his belt, the better he becomes. Today, I saw improvement with his leg drive through contact. It's an area early in the summer where he was going down a bit easier, whereas today he was breaking through more tackles. So he's getting better as he gets more games under his belt. And Seamus has been very consistent and physical throughout the summer.
Stephanie from Chicago now. You guys talked earlier this week about Samoa and how fitness and speed and the physicality of that team is going to really impact you that first game of the World Cup. What do you think you're going to really take away from this game and translate into that World Cup game where you guys played a good game together against the Wallabies, and where do you think that's going to translate into that first World Cup game for you?
Yeah, well, going back to the similar theme that we've been talking about, first half we matched the Wallabies physically, and that's what we have to do against Samoa, and then we've got to do that for the full 80 minutes because Samoa is a very similar team in the sense that they're big, physical, and they can play some open running games. So if we turn over the ball and give them space to run at us, Samoa will punish us. So we basically have to match up, make an 80-minute performance, which is easier said than done, but I believe we've got the talent and the group to do that.
Coach, Scott Lavala may have played his last rugby game with Team USA. He's not forthcoming about his future plans other than to say that he is likely not playing rugby anymore. What has he meant to this organization, and what do you say about a guy like Scott Lavala going forward?
Yeah, Scott's a tough loss. It really gutted for him because Scott, from 8th grade rugby when he was 15, 16, started his career in the Eagle program, and all throughout he's been a player who's put his heart into it. He's represented with pride, dignity. He's been a great player for us. He's just meant a lot to the growth of our program. Certainly my last 4 years here, Scott has helped to bring the program up to where it is now, and it's just sad that it ends on such a low note for him, but he should keep his head up high because he's done a lot to make himself proud and the Eagles proud.
You do have a pretty young team and not a lot of World Cup experience in this team, but how have you seen them blossom over the summer, and especially in this game, to look on to the World Cup?
Yeah, not a lot of World Cup experience, but they're getting international experience pretty quick. This is if you don't count the Harlequins game, 6 international over the summer, a lot of good competition, Japan, Tonga, Samoa, Wallabies, and rival Canada, so it's helped a lot. in big stadium, get them accustomed to the World Cup, you know, some of the venues there. So nothing but positives with all the experience they've gotten this summer.
Time for one more question.
As the face of USA Rugby, how do you try to instill and just encourage young kids to be part of rugby? I mean, with football, lacrosse, and all those other things coming up, like how are you gonna make that happen?
Well, I mean, hopefully more people can see guys like Chris and, you know, and all the young Eagles playing now, and they can pick heroes out of it. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't get to see Eagle games on TV. We didn't get to see, you know, go to stadiums and see them. And, you know, they have fantastic events, a lot of them now, and they're accessible. So I think these guys are not only great role models, the way they carry themselves and represent the program, but the way they play the game. There's some real excitement out there. So I think kids coming out to games and watching guys like this really generates excitement. Someone that they can have as their hero, someone they will model themselves after.
Thank you all very much. We're going to wrap this one up.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.